my dear ones. It's always, always, always a pleasure to sit down and converse with you and exchange ideas and get deep into this whole subject of the raw foods and regeneration and your growth in terms of awareness. And just the whole thing is fun stuff. I know some of you are suffering with this, and you just have to work yourself through these things. It's always beautiful on the other side of something. It's sad when you see how far man has gotten his problems in terms of health problems, how deep some of these problems are. And the beautiful thing about this is that there's regeneration. I said this before, you cut yourself, you hope you heal. If there was not regeneration, you'd cut yourself and you'd always have that cut. And you know that's not true. So you know that the more acidic a person is, and go back and understand there's only two sides to chemistry. That's how simple this is. The simplicity of what you're learning is a mind tear, because the mind can't wrap itself around consciousness or simplicity. For someone to make light of simplicity is a grave mistake, because simplicity is more awareness or consciousness. The mind is what loses you. Awareness is what finds you, so to speak. So you have to understand that the more you use the mind, the more lost you get. You can use your mind. That's obvious. You have to in creation. If you want anything, you have to have the mind to get it. And you have to have your emotions. That's a nice level to have. When you're above those levels, though, it is pretty nirvanic. But still, in a real creation type experience, the emotions are a main driver of desire. And desire can be in the emotional realm. The mind doesn't have desire. It's a total computer. It just gives you back what you put in. However, you're dealing in a computer that is the universal mind. So everything you can imagine, everything you see, everything you can, wrap yourself around is from the mind. Everything. All of us can think the same thought at the same time if we wanted to, because it comes out of the universal mind. So developing your ability to be free of these things is another key component to your wellness and happiness. Removing obstructions, even the chattering mind, or the too many desires, moving too much in materiality will suck the joy and freedom right out of you. And we give up our joy and freedom for materiality, for capitalism in a way. I'm going to have a few question and answers. When Drew gets back from lunch, we're going to do some more eyes, finish up the eyes. I so apologize, but I hope it's helpful for those that we went over the eyes for you. They're fun stuff, easy to learn, and you always should get your eyes done so you have them before, because they do change, and it would change. One must understand when a science is built on certain foundations, it must live up to that foundation. You can't have a science built around a certain idea and then interject something that totally doesn't fit with it. So understanding that life is in real time here, nothing is static, eyes will always change. When you have a part of this system that doesn't believe in that, that's just a part of a system that doesn't believe in that.
Are you recording?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
Oh, okay. So it can't help people that don't understand the full truth of something, you know. And that's the beauty of what you guys are learning. Oftentimes, when you look at the simplicity of something, you get it. It's hard with the mind, because the mind, there's always a plus to it. There's always more research, more this, more that we have to do, more animals to kill, more, just on down that, more humans to kill from experimental chemos or experimental pharmaceuticals. That's on top of the ones that already kill everybody. So we're so dumbed down as a world, we have to start getting ourselves up, because it's just, we're wallowing in dark agey thinking. All right, so this is a marker. Hi, Jen. It said, hope you well. Just wanted to keep you posted. Chanel's marker has come down from 67 to 58. These are cancer markers, I take it. The first time, basically, since 2013. Good job. Good job, guys. Please, God, it keeps dropping. Thanks again for all your help. We love you guys. Well, hey, listen. They will always come out of there. You're detoxing properly. And then a good sign when you see your cancer markers coming down, it's representative of either proteins or enzymes, that sort of thing. And so when you start to see these markers come down, you're really doing a good job. Sometimes markers go up and down, back and forth when you're detoxing, but you want your markers to come on down. I don't know which one she's talking about. There's plenty of them. CEAs, there's 27, 29s, 19 9s, 15 9s. There's all kinds of cancer markers in blood work, depending what tissue you want to look at. But most of these markers have a 3 to 30 range. So a good job there. You dig in and keep digging in. When you say dig in, and I want to talk about getting started. How do you get started on something like this? I mean, it seems to be a massive thing. Sometimes we forget how big it is when we keep working with simplicity, but the first thing is obvious when you get started, and it's what this individual's doing. This is from Bobby. And this is what these people are doing, what everybody's doing, is getting deep into the foods that are designed for the human body. And that's always fruits and berries. Fruits and berries are what God designed for the human being. The Bible talks about it. I think if you look down through the world, you'll see that. Even through the Essenes, you'll see the raw foodists. And when you really start to do research, you start to see that even the Essenes and Jesus were into raw foods when society around them was into cooked. I mean, it's amazing when you go back to see that living foods has always been recommended or understood by those with higher awarenesses. And that those that are struggling to become aware or struggling to find truth is pulled into these the propaganda of creation, I suppose, at least at this level where cooking is somehow beneficial to eating. And that, macrobiotics, I thought, wow, what an insane thinking. From one perspective, for the human to cook a vegetable would make it better to digest. I agree to that, obviously, because why? You're breaking down the fiber. But as a rule, you don't want to go out and eat the grass, and yet everybody wants kale and lettuces and stuff. There's no difference in eating that grass right out there in the yard. So if there is hard times, you can always eat the grass because you'll be eating vegetables, and people will be dying around you, and you can eat the grass. However, if you want to tap into your higher self, into you, the real you, and get your body into a level of vitality you've never experienced before, go fruits and berries. And melons, of course, they're real easy to digest and very suited for the Homo sapien digestive tract. Vegetables are not. Just take a look at the animals that eat vegetables if you want to take a look at that. And you'll see animals have at least 4 to 9 stomachs. Their GI tracts are 3 times as long as ours at least. So if ours is 22 foot small, 5 large, that's 27 foot. So when you start multiplying that times 3, see how long a herbivore, like an elephant or a horse's or a cow's GI tract is. Pretty long. But anyway, you get started how this individual's getting started. They're going on the fruit diets. And it's true that fruits do have ripening stages. The growth stage of anything is more of a nitrogen stage or an acid stage, where the final alkalization stage is a sweetening stage, is a sugar stage, is a carbon stage. And you must simply use the appropriate words. We throw sugar out there like it's some kind of time bomb or something, or a nuclear bomb. And the problem is sugar's mandatory to your body. And anybody that thinks differently doesn't understand physiology. Carbon is sugar. That's all carbohydrates are, is carbon chain constituents, where your amino acids, your proteins, are nitrogen chains. It's a big difference. You don't burn protein for energy, and you don't want to ever do that. I talked about that yesterday. You're burning protein for energy is burning the inside of your cabin, including the furniture, to keep your cabin warm from the winter when you can't get out. And after you burn down your inside walls, all your furniture and your flooring, what's left? So you see, when you start burning proteins for energy, you lose your body. You lose your muscles, you lose your tissues in the body. That's not good. So you have to always burn carbon. That's essential and well established. So anybody thinks they need protein for energy is fooling themselves, because protein is not burned in the body for energy. Carbon is, and oxygen is. So amino acids or proteins are more for carriers and some building of muscle and stuff like that, but they act more as carriers in the body than anything. Return to Jen W. Let me see here. Dr. Morse, you made me go from 250 gram protein day to 85% fruit, and I'll never thank you enough. Oh, you're going to kill me. Enough is nothing greater than what you say and do. Oh, thanks, man. I have two major questions. I'm a 22-year-old male, but I have a small bone, and I look way younger. Wow. Huh. Think about pituitary then. Take a look at your pituitary gland and see if that might be an issue for you. Or maybe this is just your thing. But even so, when you look into genetics and you look at different ethnic groups like either Asians or anything, you will always see weaknesses that relate to their body. Because Homo sapiens generally have the same bodies. The things that are different are the genetic levels of cells and their functionabilities. So that affects growth, size, of everything. Your height, your breasts, your legs, your hands, your fingers, your everything. You know, so that's what makes us different. But it doesn't make us different in terms of requiring different foods and things. I know they consider the four basic body styles in Ayurvedic, but I don't. Because I've had so many years of working with people from everywhere, including India, everywhere. And I don't care what size and shape you are, you've got to go this way to get well. I don't care what and who you are. You've got to open that door of the lymph and start hydrating and getting your body cleaned up. But I have small bone. Okay, it's possible to grow my bone. Absolutely, and that's another thing. You want to look at two things, obviously. But for growth, you want to look at the pituitary gland. You might just take a little peek over to the parathyroid. Your eyes are the best way. As a male, your eyes are the best way to tell that. Female, it's easy because their menses are oftentimes irregular. Your height makes a big difference. If you're under, say, 5'8", 5'7", you probably have a little pituitary. If you're tall, over 6 foot, definitely a little pituitary going on. But that's what we see. If you look around at the younger people, you're either real tall or short, or a lot of these gland problems are all over the place here. And I can't digest very well. It's been almost a month eating 85% fruits. Actually, my stool looked normal when I used to eat bread, pizza, etc. Can you give me the name of the guy who always shows you build lots of muscle? This is Ian, and you can probably tap into him on the YouTube, but he's definitely, or on the moveyourlymph.com, and talk with him. He's such a good guy, but this is Ian. But he was on, he got real skinny on our programs because he was malabsorbed. He fixed his problem, and that's the cool thing, is you fix your problem. Hi, my friend. And that's what you have to look at. Now, digestive problems, boy, I tell you, 22 years old, you could have multiple problems in the digestive tract because what we see out there in the young is kidneys, adrenals, GI tract, so the digestion is off, and of course neurological because of the adrenals. And if you take a look at the hodgepodge of symptoms that the young children and the teenagers are getting into, and even the 20 and 30-year-olds, these are the core of this. Because you know when you're born with weak kidneys and adrenals, you're going to have lymphatic problems. So this is why you see the massive amount of cancers going on in children. The other side of this, of course, is the digestive tract, and that picks up even the spleen. So because of all that, you see a lot of the the leukemia type things. And then, of course, digestion is way off in a lot of people like that. So you might want to take a pancreatic. A good way if you want to save some money and you want to go after your digestive areas in the body, think about this. Your pancreas digests your carbohydrates for you. That's your carbon side. Your gallbladder, your lipids, and your stomach and small bowel, your proteins. Well, we don't need to digest proteins because we want to give the body a break from acids. And you just really need to cool the body down and let the body heal itself. Plenty of amino acids in the fruits and berries and melons and vegetables. I mean, when you're looking at the strongest animals in the world that have the endurance with it, you're talking about the animals that eat fruits, berries, and vegetables. You're not talking about cats. I mean, we like to think a big lion is really big, and absolutely. But look at the lack of endurance. There's no endurance in a cat. If you could outrun them, you'd only have to run a half a mile or something because they have no endurance. And you can see this all the time on Animal Planet. Yes, powerful, yes, go, because they sleep 20 to 22 hours a day. How many hours in a day? So they have anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to find a kill it, maybe make love to the woman, whatever, and say hi to the kids, and then go back to sleep. I mean, that's the kind of, on a high protein diet, that's, when you're involved in that degree of acid, and if they don't get a good kill where they can get pre-digested vegetables in the gut, then they starve for nutrition. And if you look at a cat's body, they look like they're emaciated, a lot of them. No one would kill a cat to eat it, because you're looking for muscle and, things like that. And you would go to the animals that eat vegetables. Or you could go to a monkey, I guess. Anyway, that's the guy, my friend. Love to you. Thanks a lot. Good job. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Remember this. Getting started on this program is simplistic. Get rid of the cooked food. If you have to keep some cooked food for balance for a little while, it depends what you have. It depends what's going on in you. If you're popping tumors all over the place and you're breaking down your cells fast, forget I'm going to take a little while. Jump into it. It doesn't matter what blowback you see, how fast you detoxify, because your life is in your hands. This has been years and years and years piling up in you. It's just that when you see the symptom roaring, people don't realize they've been years developing this. So it looks like someone just landed in you and caused cancer or whatever the medical doctors like to call these things. And that's not true. You develop, you create everything. It might have taken a lot of years. Good at questions like this lad here. This lad here who could, and more likely, have kidney and adrenals down. If he has a digestive problem, let's say in the pancreas, and the pancreas is weak, genetically, that means the lymph system in the pancreas is down, and that means that he could grow a tumor in the pancreas easy. So when you look at what the setup is for these things, first of all, genetic weaknesses is your setup for sure. There's no question about it. That sets the tone for the functionability of any cell in your body, whether it's an endocrine gland cell, a kidney cell, a heart cell, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the function of that particular cell is, the job of it. The performance of that cell will be undermined by the acidosis, the obstruction, the inflammation, all of that sort of thing. So when we start passing, conceiving into these areas of weaknesses, this is why we have 22-year-olds suffering from digestive problems and a lot of them with tumors and things like this. and skin problems all over the place. There's no question. But skin is your third kidney, so everyone's having kidney problems. These are elimination problems. So the first order of the day, if you want to get started on a health program of any nature, you go raw. In other words, why cook your food? You're killing it. And once you learn that you're destroying the chemistry, anything water soluble, which is your B vitamins, your flavonoids, you've just destroyed them. And I'm sure there's a lot more water soluble principles. So you've got all of that. Anything else is bonded together pretty tight. Minerals, of course, are bonded like crazy. This is why the study in milk said that the more milk you drink, the more osteoporosis you have. It's because you can't get the calcium out of it because they ultra-pasteurized it. They don't tell you things like this. So you go out and buy things because you think you're getting calcium out of it, but their processing of it destroyed that ability. But you don't hear that because they want you to keep buying the product. So because they've saturated all this chemistry and the proteins, it is one of the most mucus-forming foods on the planet, meaning that the body has a huge crossbones and skull when it comes to dairy products. Yet we just belly up because it tastes so good. Put chocolate syrup on it or marshmallow or whatever. Right? So getting started is simple. Get yourself on a diet of raw. If you want to start out slower, go your fruit in the morning, maybe a vegetable salad at lunch or a green drink or two, and then at night more fruit. If you're really backed up and the fruit is wanting to pull you clean too fast, then you do your fruit in the morning and 2 vegetable meals. But I wouldn't live that level too long for those of you that are hurting, because you will continue to hurt. Vegetables do not detoxify the body at any great level. And we were just having this conversation with some people in here, because I was raised on carrot juice fasting. And I've mentioned this before. So was my friend Dr. Jensen. He was into carrot juice fasting. Had he done this 4-month, I think it was, carrot juice fast, had he done that in grapes, the outcome could have been night and day. But, you know, some of us, get stuck on things in the past, and we tend to carry it forward with us. This is why the youth is always better to wake up to the new. You know, because some of us, I try not to carry things that don't work around, but you never know when you do things like this. This comment is about the quad. I commented about this on the video yesterday, and I know it's on the iVideo. I forgot to tell Chris that the first part of that video was addressing you. You're the C4, C5, C6 quad. Titanium plated up and stuff like that's common stuff. So I addressed you on that on the other video there. Please read this over. Return to Jen W. Hi, Jennifer. I would love to become a member. I am not sure how to become. Okay. I am 100% dedicated to whatever he recommends. I have reached out to someone at his office before, but I lost the email. I began eating clean in January 2014. Still ate meat, though. I ended up losing 35 pounds and now am a healthy weight. I have been vegan since September 2014 for both my health and animal welfare. Ooh, good. Initially, in August 2014, my skin had moderate, some cystic acne. Then in December that year, I got severe acne, cystic, even though I was eating really clean, high amounts of fruits, rice, and soups. Well, here's the thing. Soups and rice and stuff like that don't clean you. And, of course, the fruits do. So it could be you were kind of counterbalancing the fruit power with all the soups and the rice. It's possible. So what little detox the fruits were offering you because of that, you were just buffering the pull on the fruit. Get rid of the rice and the soup and take off. You know. But that's the sort of thing you have to look at. And, of course, when you start on these, the skin in particular can have a major blowback to you. And this is especially true if you've been on steroids and stuff, and all of you know what I'm talking about. Because all these medical or pharmaceutical steroids are suppressants. And you don't want to take a suppressant, because what you suppress today in your body is your nightmare tomorrow. That's all I can tell you. You don't suppress anything. You expectorate. You clean out. You get crap out of your body. You don't keep it in and lock it in. That doesn't make any sense at all. And that's just what these steroids and things that medical doctors give you do. So you look like you clean up, but anybody that's had skin problems, doesn't take long to learn there's no medical cure for anything like that, because there's no understanding what causes it. So if you don't understand what causes something, I say this redundantly, you're going to treat it and could hurt yourself. Then in December that year, I got severe. Okay, let's go on. Then I began working out in March, which allowed my body to sweat. There we go. See, my face does not sweat because I believe I have hypothyroidism, according to Dr. Morse's book. That's possible. You know, when you start to see genetic skin rings and things, the first thing I look over is the thyroid. First thing. Because you know you're going to see a little bit of that down, and you haven't checked their basal temperatures and see where they are with that. But you've got to have enough heat to sweat. Now, probably if you wanted to sweat and you didn't sweat well, come down here right now, because the humidity is so high that you walk out and you sweat. It's just that way. So it's a great way to sweat. My severe acne is back to moderate acne now. However, I still get cystic bumps. You know what? It don't matter. This is all pustulars. These are all lymphatics. This is all lymph fluid in there. Acid lymph fluid, by the way, trying to get out of you. You know, anything you see like boils and pimples and styes, this is sewage trying to find a way out because you're locked. When you start seeing boils and pimples and things like that on your skin, you're not moving lymph well. So the skin is taking up the burden of that. The skin will take up the burden of the kidneys as long as it can. But if you're not sweating enough, it'll back up, and then you've got everything backed up. And it's just a sad state. But you can open these things up and refurbish and clean and regenerate. And you have to live in that world. I don't know why this world has lost that, but it's getting more, it's getting more negative as the time goes on. And it's just, that's the nature of cycles, and we're in that negative cycle. But with that, it's time we can infuse the spirituality, because a lot of people are ready for that. A lot of individuals are ready to grow, open up. They're sick of what they see. And it's like children playing in a playground, and now you're getting tired of the same old experiences. Now it's time to grow. And that's just what the playground never changes around here, hardly. This also, by the way, when you see the skin problem, guess what's not filtering? Your kidneys. Remember, your kidneys must filter sewage. If your kidneys don't filter sewage, you're in trouble. Now, you can still filter and not see a lot of sediment in there. You can see it through color and smell. You can smell the proteins and things. But really, when you start moving that lymph, you want to see the lymph in the urine. Let me see. However, my kidneys are still. Here we go. However, my kidneys are still not filtering, which is so frustrating. And this is why I share so much, because you guys will find maybe a magic something that will pop kidneys to filter quicker. It just hasn't come to us yet. We don't know if there's any other, because no one's even talks about kidney filtration but us and you guys now, because you guys are getting really, really smart. And I really love all you're doing on yourselves, and you're learning, and you're right on. When I don't see kidneys filtering, and I'm dealing in a case that's been diagnosed with cancer by the medical people, I'm looking at that going, oh crap, how fast can we get the kidneys to filter? But in reality, we all have to learn truth and learn this and teach all we can, so everybody at least has the power of awareness. If they choose not to use it, who cares? You can't get tied up whether another soul uses this or not. They're on their own journeys. And that's the other thing. I think that the importance of humility, I can't overstress humility. You guys are getting your stuff, and you're being fed good, and you got spiritual beings helping you. If you're riding with me, you've got help. And so you've got what you need. It's just a matter of you letting go, making appropriate choices, learning how to get beyond the mind into the now, where you're totally awake, totally aware, and in total control. With the mind, you're not in total control. It'll take you on a journey. Once you start its attention somewhere, it'll take you right on. And then the mind can come up. It's tied to the universal mind, so you can have all kinds of thoughts and things fly through you. But that's not awareness. And so getting beyond that mind and learning to use the mind. If education should do anything in the initial stages, it should teach us how to turn on and off the mind. You can't have that yet on this planet because our educational systems doesn't even understand even a fraction of what we are talking about. So until they do, they will know how to turn off the mind and on the mind when needed. Till then, you see what intellectualism does to this world. Yeah. But keep it humble. Always keep it humble. No one's better than another person. You're not better than anyone else, and no one else is better than you. It's all different. Someone might decide academics is their field. Have at it. Doesn't make them better or less than anybody else. Someone chooses not to spend their this lifetime in academics. They would rather play and have fun. That's their choice. That's that soul's journey. And when you have the intellectuals judging the non-intellectuals, it becomes disgusting. That's that intellectual narcissistic elitism that is developing in this world. So the few shall try to kill the many, so the few can have a better place. I mean, that's what the one world order is about. Remember, 500 million people is only allowed on this planet. So when you see the IMF and you see all these nations getting together, it's all about the one world order. And of course, remember, most of us have to die for that to happen. So it's not going to happen, but they're trying. But that's just part of the nature of this level and of growth. Freeing yourself from that's vital. I remember one time when I was in Eckankar and Darwin Gross was the master, and he could pull you out of your body, I mean, all the time. He pulled me out all the time. I remember on stage one time he turned around to pick up something, and he turned around and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to turn my back on you." Well, whew, that knocked me right off my feet. As I'm looking at that going, my God, that's humility. When you have your sukkah, when you have yourself, you don't need anything. And no one's better, no one's worse. Everything's a part of God. God expressing itself. That's why I'll hug a plant, I'll hug a bear, I'll hug this watermelon. Who cares? It's all God. And when you begin to work yourself up to see that, your life will be so blissful. I can't even tell you. The struggle you will have is staying here. That's the struggle you'll have. But if you realize now that you're learning to be a way shower and helping others, you already have your sukkah, so you don't need to have an ego about it. You already got yours. And the love that comes from the recognition that we're all from the same source makes you extend that hand out and say, "Let me help you." Now, I should be eating, let me see, because I'm not really sure what fruits I should be eating. Well, the detoxifying fruits are always going to be the subacid and the acid fruits. The detoxifying fruits, the water fruits, they're much more the detoxifiers. So, and especially if they're a little astringent. So obviously, we have found grapes and lemons to be two of the greatest detoxifiers, but I find oranges, grapefruit, that sort of thing. The problem with the acid category is you got pineapple in there, you got oranges in there, you've got grapefruit in there, you've got kiwi in there, you've got a lot of things in there. The problem with labeling right now, and the problem with looking up stats, oh, by the way, I want to get this, the problem with looking up stats, we're trying to get a lot of stats for you guys. What we're putting up online is the composition of mother's milk, of baboon milk, which is the only one we could find to verify it, cow's milk, coconut milk, and we're trying to give that same constituent level of fruits and berries and things so you can see. I think the shock that a lot of you will have is the low protein and fat content, and by the way, mineral content of mother's milk. Matter of fact, if you're giving your babies coconut milk, you're giving your babies 10 times the protein and fat that would be in your own milk. And that's just a natural coconut milk. The cow's milk is way out of line. High fat, high protein. And more protein than fat by far. So, but you're looking at growth factors differently. You're looking at size factors differently, different species. So you can't compare. But just wanted to show you guys just how much mother milk is not nutritious. This new infant formula that I'm working on should be out. We should be, I'm waiting for a test batch. That's going to be far more nutritious than mother's milk. And like I said, I've been working on trying to cut it down so it's close to mother's milk. So this is going to be a powerful food for infants, that's for sure. Let me see here. So the water fruits are the best. If you have an orange raised on an organic orange tree, proper organics, properly fed, you're going to have oranges this big. You're not going to have oranges this big, you're going to have oranges this big. And when you bite into them, the word acid will never, never pass through your mind because it's sweet as honey. So the variations of these factors and the pH variances are also directly related to how did you grow it? Did you pick it ripe or did you pick it unripe just to get it to the market? All these factors are factored in there. Thank God grapes and things like this don't have such a big shift in that. So that's why grapes are so much better, because even a little unripe, they're not acidic like, let's say, the citruses could be. So I like those two categories for detoxification. For those that are already highly acidic and you're doing acid fruits, watch your teeth. Because acid, again, acid on top of acid leads to nothing good. In chemotherapy, it leads to 97% of the people dying from it. Again, 97% of the people die from chemotherapy. That was one of the studies that you'll find up on our website, and I hope they're getting that up there. I've been eating high amounts of fruits and herbs, specifically ginger, turmeric, parsley, dandelion. Perfect, perfect. Is there anything else I can do at this point? Well, I'll say this. Put yourself on a grape fast. Put yourself on a 10-day grape fast. It's not really a fast. We don't call it a fast, but it's not really a fast. Put yourself on a 10-day grape diet. Fasting makes people think you're starving. You're not starving. Matter of fact, we have a research paper here that shows that fasting increases bone marrow function and stem cell. That's pretty cool stuff. So fasting actually helps the body to correct itself. Well, we know that because we see it in the animal kingdom. We're the only species on this planet that lost our intuitiveness, and we don't even know what side's up or down. So this cool stuff. There's a lot of misunderstanding in this. Even in our own field, there's all these aberrated levels. If you want to dig deeper and your skin is moderate, you got to get that done. And the only way to get deeper into the body is go into the fruit level. If you have to, if it's so deep and you can't get this with fruits, you got to go to water fasting, because outside of water and dry fasting, that's it. That's it. So, put yourself on I love 40-day grape diets. 40-day grape diets are magic. There's just something magic about a 40-day grape diet. But 20, okay, do a 20-day. Get a 10-day. Whatever you can do 1 day. But sometimes you guys have to push yourself through these things. Sometimes you get a little symptom and you wig out. Sometimes you have to push through there. And I say you have to know when to do that and when not to do that. As long as it's not an anaphylactic shock, you can push through it. So what if your skin breaks out? It's probably going to anyway, but it will start to clear. Let me see here. I have weak adrenal glands. Since in April, my blood pressure was 96. Yeah, real low. Yeah, And you got to get your kidney functioning until you get your adrenals up, because the adrenals obviously are right there on top. They're the glands, so they control the organ. And I would get on those, at least take the 400, if you're that low, I'd take the 400 milligram glandulars until I got my blood pressure up close to 120, at least 115 or so, and then you can come off of it. If you're opposed to glandulars, then you got to go to licorice. Go to licorice root. Take about a dropper full 3 times a day with your other herbs, and that should pull your blood pressure up. You always use licorice in low blood pressure cases. And licorice acts as like a natural cortisol. It's an anti-inflammatory. So it's all good. That's what I love about the herbs. They're all good. But it could be why your kidneys aren't functioning well right now is because your adrenals are so low. I'm pretty sure I have hypothyroidism. We'll check your basal temperatures under your arm. That'll tell you. I used to have pretty bad asthma when I was younger, so you know that you have weak adrenals. And what else is down because of that? When you see 96s realistically, that's chronic. So when you have chronic adrenal weakness, what else could you see? And you're seeing one side of the adrenals already when you told me 96 blood pressure. Which side of the adrenals is that? That's the inner core. The inner core of something is called the medulla, the inner core. And the medulla of the adrenals produces what? Your neurotransmitters. And therefore you're low in neurotransmitters because your systolic blood pressure is low. But the cortex, that's the outer portion of the gland, and the adrenal glands produces what? Steroids. So you're up for low steroids as you are seeing low neurotransmitters. So your cortisols can be low. What I've seen is when your cortisol levels are low, your kidneys aren't filtering and your lymph's backing up, cholesterol will be part of your issue. Because when your corticosteroids can't be used, guess what we're going to go to? We're going to go to a major component of corticosteroids, cholesterol. And you're going to use that. My parents also have so I wanted to finish this. Neurological. Which nervous system controls your breathing? There's only 2 nervous systems. One's the central, hard drive. The other one is your worker bee, autonomic. And the autonomic comes up here and down to the adrenal glands, and it meets all together in the stomach, doesn't it? Solar plex stomach. This is your autonomic brain. This is your central nervous brain. When you have stomach problems or you hit in the stomach, notice how you lose your breath and everything. So when you have asthma, not only do you have low adrenal function, but you have low myelin sheath function. You have low, and most of the time you'll see nerve rings starting to form in your eye, as we showed you yesterday. So that's a big deal, because as your nervous system goes down, that affects what? Everything. Your nervous system controls the function of literally everything. And a lot of people, and we've talked a lot about this on past videos, of neurological type 1s and neurological this and neurological that. We're going to find in research more neurological symptomology than an actual tissue. Only because when the adrenals are down, so is the autonomic. And the autonomic is heart, lungs, bowel movements. I'm going to fight you or I'm going to relax. As the autonomic is push-pull, parasympathetic, sympathetic. So I can tell you, you're working with that, and you want to enhance that. Well, we've got nerve formulas, you've got adrenal formulas, but you always want to address the tissue where this starts out at. My parents also have told me when I was younger, I used to get a lot of ear infections. So you know immediately you're backed up all the way in the head. So what kind of diet should I go on? Do you see where I'm going with this? You drop me a 20-day grape fast diet. I mean, you know, when you had ear infections, a lot of them as a young, where has all that acid lymph gone now? If you haven't detoxed it out of the body, where is it now? Let me see. What was the question I was asking? Or did I actually come here in a car? I mean, that's the sort of thing you can look forward to. And that's not a good thing. So you have to be real careful because this is all acidosis. And of course, you got eyeballs here too. So all of that leads to pressures of glaucoma, MACD, detached retinas, wrinkled retinas, all kinds of things. That's all about acidosis. It doesn't always have to give you a wrinkled retina. It could give you a detached retina. There's all variables. But everything has to be so cut and dried and labeled, and that's the mind. And that's how bizarre the mind has gotten, and so way out of reality. So, I'd ear candle myself, though. I would definitely ear candle myself. Do at least 3 ear candles per ear. You found it!
I did.
I had it in your room!
It was in
I knew! I looked everywhere for my water.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you, honey.
You can keep going for another 2 hours.
Huh?
You can keep going for
I
another
keep going
2
for another
hours.
2. I got another 2 hours.
Yeah, there you go.
I shall.
All right.
I shall persevere. If you see Drew, ask him if he'd come down after a bit and we'll finish up these eyes.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sweetie.
Yeah, have fun.
Bye-bye. Okay, and so I was on antibiotics a lot. Oh, so check your eyes for the orange sulfur in there. That could be a problem. I know that a cooked vegan lifestyle has not helped eliminate my skin issues. Well, how could it? See, when you're eating cooked foods, you just destroyed the power of that food for everything. You destroyed the nutrition, you've agglomerated the chemistry, you've tore down the electromagnetic energy by destroying the chemistry. So you have pretty much a dead food that becomes cumbersome to the body to try to deal with. It takes more energy to digest this food than it gives you back. What happens if you spend more energy trying to digest something than it gives you back? Where does that put you? In the negative energy side. So keep in mind, an adult human needs 6,500 to 7,000 angstroms or units of electromagnetic energy to even be happy. A fruit has 12,000, 11 to 12,000, a vegetable around 9, raw. That's why you feel a little better on vegetables, but on the fruit, you soar the sky. However, when you cook all that, how would you overcome something? Even on vegetables, how would you overcome it? You'll stop putting acids in the body, so, but you don't stop cells from producing them because you're still trying to get carbon to burn. So your cells are still producing and eliminating. So really, there's no reason for you to have been getting well doing that. It's just the thought. Now, if you come down off of a high meat, a high dairy, and a high grain and bean diet, you're going to feel better on cooked vegetables. No question. No questions at all. Let me see. Has not helped eliminate skin problems, low blood pressure, not sweating in face. You have to go after these things aggressively because you can't just shift your diet into a vegan diet and think you're going to be well. You're going to feel better, no question. You can feel better taking supplements, but you'll never get to Wellville with that. And you really want to pull your train into Wellville, because that's you, your future, your survival, and your awareness. So you want to pull your train into Wellville, and doing that means you have to hook to the life. If you want to experience life and the living and energy and consciousness, you can't eat dead. You can't polarize yourself to the negative side, to the dead side of life, and expect to feel energetic and high and everything else. This is not going to happen. And the only reason you do on meats is the neurotransmitters in meats. If you had no neurotransmitters in meats, you wouldn't be eating them. Most people wouldn't be eating them because of the blowback from the proteins. But because of the high neurotransmitters in slaughterhouse meats, it makes you feel like it gives you energy. Pull someone away from that. And that's what almost everybody experiences. If you've been on a meat diet for any length of time in your life and you stop it, you're going to feel tired. And it's not a lack of energy in terms of carbon. It's the withdrawal of neurotransmitters. The same thing happens when you're on steroids and stop them, or on hormones and stop them. The same thing happens. Same thing. So a lot of our adrenal functions and low blood pressures are a direct result of lifetimes of dead animal eating. and what it's done to the human adrenal glands. And then we use steroids and antibiotics and everything else in meats. I just find that the ignorance in the allopathic community about all this is beyond frustrating. We have to reclaim our world back. I say that in not really our world, but humans have to reclaim that because they're letting a few narcissistic elitists run everything. And these are just misfit people, souls that love power over others. Bad karma, they got a lot of spinning to do, but still, individuals have to come into their own. Cycles are going to have to change a little bit here, and they're doing it. Since being raw, I have had cold-like symptoms. Yes, absolutely. Sneezing, why wouldn't you? Itchy eyes, why wouldn't you? Itchy skin, why wouldn't you? That's exactly what you want. I mean, when this stuff's locked in there, it's got to come out. What's sneezing? It's trying to pull it out, Same thing with coughing. You don't do that for nothing. The body's trying to get rid of. So help it. Help it. And you help the body eliminate by proper chemical hydration. How do you get that? Eat your fruits, berries, and melons. That's all you got to worry about. And it's proper chemical hydration because it's base balanced, meaning that the balance of that chemistry in fruits and berries and melons are on the base side, which fits right with the air, which fits right with your internal blood. Anything you eat should match very similar to the blood pH. Because anytime you shift too high or low from that, you're going to shift the variances of blood pH. In doing that, then, the demand of the blood to seek electrolytes or acids, either one, to pull is understood. So this is why you see spider veins, varicose veins, petechia, bruising easy, and things like this, is because your body, you've been putting too many proteins in the blood, and now the blood is robbing itself of calcium all over the place to maintain its pH balance. And in doing that, it has weakened its connective tissue in the wall. And in doing that, then you have the herniations or aneurysms and all that crap. It's not difficult to understand. If you understand those two sides of chemistry, the nature of two sides of chemistry, and this just tells you with the itchy eyes and itchy skin, you're full of fungus. But why wouldn't you be? And you probably have a lot of sulfur from the antibiotic use, blah, 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 blah. Feeling so tired. Again, why wouldn't you? Your blood pressure is 96. My question is, you might even see it go lower yet. How do you have energy? If your systolic blood pressure is only 96, where are you getting your energy from? Carbon and stuff like that, your own consciousness, yeah. But systemically, neurologically, we need neurotransmitters, and you're low in them. So what do? You fix the gland that produces them, which is the adrenal glands. I need to know which fruits I should focus on buying since I am paying for all these fruits by myself, which is expensive sometimes, except bananas. Grapes, 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 lemons, oranges that are very ripe, apples, peaches, pears, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, papaya, mango. Do I give you enough fruit to eat? I need advice on this point. Thank you so much. I'm sorry this email is so long. Yep, I hope that helps you out there, honey. Wow, Jen, you jumped a bunch of these on me. All right, this is from Ryan. And I went through a naturopathic doctor to get my genetics tested to see what my genetic blueprint is. My results said that my detoxification pathways were not good. I have one copy of GSTM1 deletion and no copies of GSTT1. He said that my body will not produce glutathione and said that I would need to take this for life. When when a naturopath says that, I want to throw up. I just want to throw up. It is called Try 40 Orange by Research Nutritionals. I am 37 and have varicose veins on my right calf. Need we just talk about that? Do I need this for life or do I have options? You have options, and when someone says you need this particular supplement or amino acid or nutrient or whatever for life, Just get up and say thanks a lot and walk out. If I say that to you, say thanks a lot and walk out. Because this person doesn't know how to cure anything. This person doesn't even know what life is. This person doesn't even know, and I don't know who this is. So I'm not focusing on any one naturopath, but it's enough to say you naturopaths need to get your crap together. You are leading people down not naturopathic road. You're leading them down the medical thinking road. You got to get away from these glutathions and all this kind of bullshit and start understanding what the real pathways are. And when you say your detoxification pathways are blocked, how interesting. I hear all kinds of crap from people like that, and it just makes me sick to my stomach. It gives the world out there a bad impression, and that you need machines, you need all this testing to figure out what your unique thing is, and it's like, it's gotten so intellectual, even naturopaths are lost. And the average naturopath can't cure anything anyway. And when someone says you need to take this for life, that tells you right there that person knows nothing of regeneration, nothing of health. I don't care what degree they got. I mean, we've definitely shown you guys that and proved that. So sorry about that, but you're right on. Don't get trapped in some kind of crap like that. By the way, look at your parathyroid gland here. I mean, this could be a local weakness down the calves, but it does suggest that at the very least you're highly acidic down in the lower limbs, which would mean kidneys. And then, of course, this could be a parathyroid. You want to fix that one. So take a look, get a picture of your eyes, take a look at your lymph, take a look at your endocrine glands, your bowels, fix all that up, and you'll have your life. Horst, since this and wanted to know what you thought of it. Please return to Shannon. To perform the heart sound, I'd have to look at this and get back to you on it. Sorry, I'll look at it and get back to you. I don't want to take the time to read it right now. Andrea, hi, I'm a 37-year-old female. I have 4 children, 4 kids. After my 3rd child in 2011, I started getting incredible head pain, 24/7 for about 4 months. Holy God. Oh, that doesn't sound good, does it? I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's in 2012, but that doesn't cause head pain. And put on hydrocortisone. My cortisol was low, -3 in 2014. I stopped taking, thank you, stopped taking the steroids and ate a low-carb diet for systemic candida. No, this just makes you worse. And how do you stop? This is fungus, right? Fungus doesn't give a crap about sugars. What do they give a crap about? Fermentation, which is sugars, which is carbon. Fermentation, they're the little people that help us with fermenting our sugars and breaking all this down to the atoms again. We need the atoms, like bacterium loves acids. So we have to have fungus for carbon. So if you have an overfungal growth, one, you know that either you got it from the use of antibiotics, all the starch diets with low adrenal functions. If you have low cortisol levels, which gland do you want to fix? And all of us, I mean, you could safely assume that all of us have adrenal weaknesses at one level or another, and you wouldn't be off but a fraction of a percent. That's how bad it is worldwide. And living on this planet is an adrenal stressor like nobody's business. So all I can say is you have to build up your adrenal glands here. Get your steroids going. Going on a low-carb diet isn't the answer. You want to kill fungus, use an herbal to kill fungus, but fix your adrenal glands, because we're going back to the adrenal glands and sugar metabolism. And when you don't have proper sugar metabolism, you're going to invite fungus, because you're going to ferment all sugars, whether it's simple sugar like fructose or glucose or galactose, or you're definitely going to ferment the sucroses, maltoses, and dextroses, which is your poly and disaccharides. I'm 5'9", 120 pounds. After I lost it due to chronic lung issues. What? I have severe joint pain, lockjaw, spondylosis in 2011. I think you meant chronic nerve pain, thin hair, and some vitiligo under eyes, knee fluid, nausea. I think I can safely say here, my dear one, that you're highly acidic. Your lymph system's backed up like nobody's business. You'd have to take a look at your eyes and look at your lymph system. But when your adrenals are this low, you want to build them back up. And taking cortisone, as you probably realize now, only weakens them even more. So you really want to go after your endocrine glands. You can't tell by your height or anything, but if you think your thyroid is down, you're going to determine, or have one of us determine, or however you determine, whether you're having a pituitary or a thyroid itself. You want to determine that. But with lung problems and all this, I can tell you your thyroid and parathyroid, sinuses, look at everything you're saying here. And you're in a dangerous position here, sweetheart, because you got chronic nerve pain, thin hair, you had the head pain after the third child. See, I think you're extremely acidic, and this goes for the child as well, probably. And I think from reading this, your adrenals are way down. If it is true, check, and you have low thyroid function, check that. Vitiligo, I don't like that. That's your pituitary. So you really didn't need to go too far to that, because you just said right there you have vitiligo. That is pituitary. Your height doesn't reflect it, but your menses could, but your skin is. You get nausea, so you're just backed up lymphatically all through you here, honey. And you want to detox the head. To detox the head means you detox the bowels below it, get your kidneys filtering. You want to get in this because this is some problems. If your parathyroid was if your pituitary was down, it's possible your parathyroid was down. If that's the case, do you have any postpartum depression after 4 kids? If you have a little, go after the parathyroid gland and keep an eye on your children for growing pains, because you'll want to fix that real quick. This is a serious calcium problems, can lead to nerve transmission problems, skeletal connective tissue problems, go right on down a long line. So I think you need to get into your body and regenerate it, clean it out and regenerate it, honey. This is from what you're telling me. I don't like any of that. And of course, all that's acidosis. And not only your hair will start thinning, you'll start to go bald. And you're a female. This is Michael, Michelle. I was just diagnosed yesterday, and they want to do surgery. I currently live in California and was wondering if the hernia can be treated holistically. I have a free consult on this Friday with a holistic doc and consult with an herbalist like Thursday. Well, the only thing I can tell you is go after what? What would you want to go after? Because they don't fix these things. They just put a patch in. And the patches were toxic until recently, when they discovered patches were extremely toxic. They've changed them. I don't know what we're dealing with now in these screens or patches. It's enough to say the suggestion, it could be a local genetic weakness or an injury in that area, and just never healed properly. That would mean your lymph is not moving well in that area enough to move out the damage and repair it. So that could mean you have a parathyroid as well. So you want to take a look at that, because if you want to try to repair a hernia the right way, you want to go to why you herniated the tissue. If that's a weakened tissue, which it always is, then you want to think about parathyroid. What other system would you want to think about? Blood? No, you're moving good with blood. Lymph, because lymph isn't fixing things, isn't cleaning it enough so the blood can fix it. I mean, you have all these components in your body willing and ready, but when you reach stagnation of the lymph, that poses a lot of these problems. And the acids, of course, suck these calciums out of these areas. You could actually have a small genetic weakness in that area for years, had the lymph not moving well, chewed up the calcium out of that area and herniated that area. That also can be true. You would find those things out from the iris analysis. And that would be cool stuff then, and then you could tell. I would say I always recommend fixing things the right way. A patch is a patch. It is not really a true fix-me-up. It's just a patch. They can't make cells repair themselves. You can, and you know how to do it, but you can't go through the acid protein door to do that. That door only breaks things down more, leaches calcium out more, creates more herniations, and kidney damage, and bowel problems. Go the fruit, veggie, and carbohydrate door. Best door to go into. Remember the difference between carbohydrates, starches, and simple carbohydrates. And I would definitely want to go after it the right way. If it is so big and you can't hold it in enough to let the body heal itself, then you got to have it repaired while you then go about fixing it. Here's the problem, though, is when they go in to fix these things, they could create some scar tissue for you and stuff, but if they have to fix it, they have to fix it. So if it's in a place where you just can't get it tied up and held well because of the stress of that, then you might want it repaired and go into the body and fix it. But what type of diet would you want to fix it? 100% raw diet. When you want top-level regeneration, you don't sit and eat dead animals and cook foods and drink their milks. Gershon? My wife is about to have her gallbladder removed due to sludge, gravel, and stones. She already had a bad attack a year ago. We found a recipe to flush the stones out, but they're back again, and she doesn't wish to use that recipe again. Is the gallbladder really expendable? What are the repercussions and body functioning without it? Her condition doesn't seem to be diet-related. Is it inherent? Well, here's the thing. It could be inherent. If it was inherent, what's the problem? Why the stones? What type of chemical condition must exist to create stones? Acid. Now, with your statement here, you could be right in the sense, just what we said. She could have a genetically weak gallbladder. The lymph in that, remember Dr. Jensen's a big proponent of that. In the genetically weakened areas, you have a compromised blood and lymph system. So the lymph system could be compromised in that, and through the years, it's making the gallbladder so acidic that it's forming stones. No matter what, you don't want to remove your gallbladder. The only time you want to move your gallbladder is if it's falling apart and it's just sludge itself, because that's your lipids. And once you have it removed, then you have a real hard time digesting lipids. And by the way, it's nestled in the gallbladder, and of course, nestled in the liver, and of course, if you have gallstones, the chances that you have liver stones are very high too. I don't care what the scan shows. It's enough to say that I don't know what recipe she used, but the recipe to do a liver flush should be simple. And salt water isn't a part of that. I don't know where these insanity things come, but no one drinks salt water. You don't drink salt water. So the simple liver flush is simple oils and maybe some grapefruit juice to kind of buffer that. But oil is a simple flush. You don't have to go. Some of these flushes are crazy. But we have a formula called Food Liquid. It's from Standard Process Labs. Food Liquid. That helps to break up these stones and come out. But detox pulls the stones out too, and our liver gallbladder formula also pulls stones out as well. But removing the gallbladder is not smart, especially if it's just sludge and stones and inflammation. That's not smart. If it was falling apart, all right, we might have an agreement there. It might take you too long to regenerate an atrophied condition. But it doesn't sound like it, and we save gallbladders every day of the friggin' week. This is a very common problem in today's world. And it's easy to take care of this and fix this. Very easy. But I would dig deeper, go to my kidneys, adrenals, clean my GI tract, since the liver and gallbladder are just a branch off the trunk of the GI tract tree. I did a bad thing yesterday, guys. I did a bad thing. After how many years? This town has Royal India. It was a bad thing I did yesterday. The first Indian restaurant in our community. Gershon, this is the same one. Okay. Yeah, 100% raw, right off, fruits, berries, and melons. If you want to get it out quicker, that's how you clean things out. That's how you clean tumors out, stones out, kidney stones, gallstones, liver stones. Hang on. All right, this is Kaylee. Hi, Kaylee. Dr. Morse, you are a huge inspiration to my family, and we love you big time. Thanks a lot, guys. Love you guys, too. My fiance calls you the good doc. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. We got a big surprise on our journey to Wellville, and I am 7 weeks pregnant. There's another one 7 weeks pregnant. I eat mostly grapes, berries, and melons. My kidneys are filtering, but adrenals are still down. Blood pressure is 110/60. Not bad, though. Pretty good. I would probably take the adrenal formula, the herbal one. That ought to be suffice for you to help bring that up, because that's still not awfully low, so still pretty good. I heard from a naturopathic glandulars were not safe during pregnancy, and neither are herbs. That's not true at all. We have plenty of women on glandulars and herbs in pregnancy. Absolutely. That's nothing to do about that. We stay away from the heavy hitters, which are definitely the lymphatic herbs like bloodroot, pokeroot, things like that. But some pregnant women have used them. But my granddaughter's a good example, and I told you about that one. She just gave birth to my great grandson, and he was almost 10 friggin' pounds. And she was pumping the God's blend. She was on the kidneys, the endocrine gland. She was on about 4 or 5 herbal formulas along with the superfood blend. And she gave birth to a giant. This kid looks half grown. It's amazing, you know. And she'd been healthy all the way through. She gained minimum weight just for where the child. I mean, she had everything. It was the best pregnancy you ever saw. So I thought it was so cool for her to do that, because she is the daughter of my older son, who has a hard time with raw foods. Yeah, there's again naturopaths out there, and neither are herbs. How can I safely boost myself and baby? Thank you. Well, first of all, you definitely want to be raw. You know, it sounds like you're doing really good that way. I would say with the baby, you might want to pump the God's blend, you know, because it's just extremely nutritive blend. Extremely high in calcium, is just what you need right now because of the demand for calcium for the baby. So I don't know. It's just it depends on where you are in your health issues. Is your kidneys? You said your kidneys are filtering pretty good. That's exciting. So it's just a little bit. Take the endocrine gland formula. Even boost all your glands up a little bit. Will boost the child's glands up a little bit, and you'll have a stronger, healthier baby. These aren't like stimulants and things that go out and make your glands jump and salute. That's not what these things do. So any naturopath that thinks that's not used them, because that's not what they do. Glands even don't do that. I mean, if you took too high of a pituitary or particularly a thyroid glandular, it could get your heart working pretty dang good. Yeah, we wanted to finish this. Let me just finish up a couple of them.
Okay. You're quite far.
I am? I know, looky here. We've come a long way today.
Yeah.
Although, I'm still really...
Yeah,
look at this.
We need to get eye photos done, though.
We do need to get eye photos done. Okay, so what I'll
Find
do...
a balance. Let's continue there for a few minutes.
Huh?
Get right to eyes.
Give me 10 minutes.
Okay.
And this door will be closed.
That's right.
And then bring it.
I'm going to come back in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Okay.
10 minutes.
All right.
And we'll crack the melon and we'll sit around and party and show some eyes.
That's awesome. Can I zoom in just a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely zoom in.
Look like you're like,
Am I? Well,
No,
you
no.
guys set that up.
Hey. Hey, be nice.
I know. You guys did it. That's why I need you, man. I need you here.
There you go.
Thanks.
I still got those.
Did you?
Yeah. I'll see you in a little bit.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Michelle. Hello there. I am wondering what supplement I can take for sulfur burps. Oh! Oh, sulfur burps. Oh, yuck. You know, that's nasty, isn't it? Well, here's the thing. You want to clean your gut, no question. So I would definitely hit the kidneys and adrenals, standard stuff, the lymph system, of course, because you're going to have this sulfur impacted in the bowel wall or the gastro wall, the stomach wall, or whatever. I would use the stomach and bowel formula and the GI broom and start cleaning. And that's all you can do is start cleaning. Go on your raw food diet, which will start cleaning. So you got two things of cleaning. You got the herbs will start cleaning, and you got your raw foods that'll start cleaning. Pretty soon you're cleaning all this sulfur out. And that's the only way I know to get the sulfur burps. And you want to get the sulfur out because that locks the lymph system in the bowel wall, creates malabsorption, heavy fungal problems, on and on. Sulfur burps, bloaty, gassy symptoms all the time, stuff like that. So you want to get that out of there. And that's, you can only detox that out. Okay, all right, let's read on to this one. I was diagnosed with gastroparesis years back. Ouch. So that begs, if you're getting sulfur burps and you were diagnosed with gastroparesis, the thought is, did the use of sulfur drugs suppress your nervous system too? And is sulfur a neural suppressant? It's a thought. And if that's true, because I don't know if sulfur is a neurotoxin, but if sulfur is a neurotoxin or suppressant, it would make sense that you're sulfured up pretty bad. Get a picture of your eyes. Look at that stomach around there. Is it black and dark? That would be gastroparesis or degenerative stomachs, da-da-da-da-da. Could be the nervous system that's degenerated in there from sulfur and lymph being stagnant in the wall. I mean, all these things, no matter what it is, the fixing of it is the same. Let's see, I was told I would continue to get small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. For what? The only time you have bacterial overgrowth is when you are a fine host. And when you're a fine host, that means you've eaten all the bad stuff. You've eaten the dairy, you've eaten the white flour, and now you have blocked up bowels, you have impacted bowels, and these guys are just hungry. What can I tell you? If, indeed, you have bacterial overgrowth anywhere, it's just that you offer the terrain for that. You can't blame them, and if you go to kill them, you'll mess yourself up real bad because you are mandatory bacterium and lymph nodes. Mandatory. When I do, I get bile-smelling burps, diarrhea, and feel ill. So far, no one has been able to help me again. You just got to clean out your GI tract, honey. You just got to get in there and detox it. But get your kidneys and adrenals up and your lymph moving because that gets stagnant in the wall there too. Remember, lymph flows everywhere. In the bowel wall, in the liver. Everywhere there's a cell, there's a space around it full of lymph fluid. Or interstitial fluid, which really you could say is lymph fluid, small amount of blood. But the lymph fluid is the big issue here. So by moving the lymph system, that's going to reach into that bowel wall as well and help the terrain there. By using the GI broom, the stomach and bowel formulas, and going to a more raw diet, you're also going to clean all that out. You don't need to try to kill the bacteria because they'll just rehost. I mean, it's the terrain you're after. Makes more sense. No one's been able to help you, and that's ridiculous. That's why I do this channel and try to get each and every one of you to become healers. And yes, it's going to piss off the medical community, but too bad. They're killers right now, and they have to wake up to that. I'm a 41-year-old female, and I am 5'1". Oh-ha! So, we want to take a look at what? Pituitary, my dear. Pituitary. Everyone around me thinks I am becoming anorexic. Please tell me what protocol I should take from Dr. Morse. Thank you. Well, here's the thing, Shell. If you're on raw foods and you're getting too skinny, then the suggestion is just what we were talking about. The terrain in the gut is of the nature of obstructive and, of course, toxic. So you're a host for the bacterium, but you already have bacterium in the gut. You have it in all septic areas. But you want to get in and do some work here. You want to get some cleaning done. You want to get your lymph system moving. You want to clean the wall of your gut out. If you do, you want to get your adrenals up, because if you have gastroparesis, I want to hit the nervous system to the gut, which is the autonomic, which is through the adrenal glands. I want to clean up the wall so the tissues around the nerves, and of course all that other stuff is clean and nice. And this is how you just regenerate. You just clean and rebuild, and that's how you do it. And you do that through herbs and foods. That's all you need to do that through. That's all the body needs to regenerate itself through. It doesn't need something from Mars. So you don't have to worry about the people around you. You want to worry about yourself. And I submit to you, at 5'1", you probably have a little pituitary going on, and I want to take a look at that, because that would be your thyroid, parathyroid, adrenals as well. And so, supplement-wise, I don't deal in that sort of thinking, but I would go on a program. And that program would be one of the basic kit to start off with, because you want to get a little bit of a kill in there of worms and flukes and things like that, but you really want to start cleaning yourself. You really want to start cleaning your body out, especially the gut tissue, enlivening the body, because if indeed you have any level of gastroparesis, which is amazing, because the lady before that throws up in pregnancy, that would be the one you suspect gastroparesis. But with you, if you're not throwing up and you're still able to digest food with gastroparesis, that's amazing. With gastroparesis, what food would you not want to eat? With paralysis of the stomach, what food would you not want to eat? Knowing that the stomach produces what? Hydrochloric acid for what? To break down protein back to the amino acids. Okay, so you would not want to consume protein. Not with gastroparesis. That'd be stupid. That would just mean lock you in where you can't hardly get out. I'm going to close this down now, because I have to get back to these eyes. I want to call this oncologist for a minute and deal with that issue. Full moon brings out the woos. But anyway, I love you guys so much. And you take care of yourselves, because the world is really mean out there sometimes, and only you can protect yourself. You know, as soon as you rely on someone else, you're opening your doors even more. So get to that happy place. Get to that place of the now. The place that you live, where you're awake and you're observing life, where the mind isn't taking you on fields of dreams, where it takes you away from yourself for X amount of time, only to come back once in a while to say hi. And get yourself awake. And and your life will be so grand, so great. The smiles will come on. The joy and the security of knowing how life is, knowing who the God factor is, knowing the way to health and vitality. And you guys have those tools. So have fun with them. And I love you all, and the next video will continue. But I want to finish these eyes up. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.